It's time for tips from the UWCSI pros. I'm Senior Investigator Rich Morin, and with me, as always, is
I'm Senior Investigator Ed Myron. Some more tips.
yep. Tonight's tips is going to be a different type of an entry. A lot of places don't teach it anymore. I'm not quite sure why. It's probably the entry that I use the most. It's a backwards giant stride, and there's some times that it's going to be extremely beneficial to use something like this.
Right.
But why don't we show the video first, Ed, and then we'll go back and we'll play it in slow motion and critique it a little bit.
Okay. And before we show the video, can you explain a little bit why this particular? I know you were saying to me one of the main reasons why you use this in particular, especially off of a relatively high pier when we're dropping in, that you use the backwards giant stride versus a forward giant stride.
Yeah. I've had a very active life. I raced motocross when I was very, young, for 6 seasons. Had a ball with it. I've had a lot of knee injuries over the years, and it puts a lot of stress on me when I do a forward giant stride. My front leg's out like this, the back leg is bent on a 90. When I hit the water, it's putting a lot of stress up on the knee this way and on the knee this way.
Right.
Um, so it's not comfortable, and my right knee especially, it has a tendency to go out on me periodically. So doing this particular entry, it's just you keep legs straight, you just step straight back, keeping the legs straight, and just fall on a slight angle back in the water, so your feet are going in more like this, and it's putting a
Right.
lot less stress on your legs. The other advantage is if you're on a platform, the platform for a boat getting ready to do an entry into the water, and the waves are coming up over the platform, or the
Right.
boat's doing one of these, trying to do a forward giant stride. People are trying to step out across the incoming waves, and a lot of times it's just too much force, and they end up doing a face plant, or
Face
they end up
plant.
going off to the side
Right.
because there's just too much resistance trying to push your fin forward through it. So if you turn around and you do a backwards giant stride, both feet are like this side by side, and all you're going to do is just bring the foot straight back, just cut right through the water,
Right.
and then fall in. It's
Yep.
real easy. Just kind
Uh,
of lean back just a little bit. Actually, you don't even need to. It's going to happen naturally.
Yep.
But let's go ahead and show the video.
All right. Perfect. All right. Beautiful blue skies there.
Yeah, and for a guy who's approaching 70, it's a little bit better entry for me anyway.
Yep.
And like I said, it really is advantageous doing it off of a charter boat.
Yeah.
The backwards giant stride, you step down on the platform, you're still looking at the back of the boat. A lot of times they have a post right there you can hold on to till you're ready to do the entry. And it's just a lot more stable and a lot less opportunity of falling sideways, etc. So I'm
Right.
going to get my heels back over the edge. My BC is empty in this case. Now you can have air in it if you're going to go back to the surface, but what we're doing here is we're also the last short video we did was on stinging jellyfish. I'm going to just stop that for a second, Ed.
Yep.
Um, so what we do here is if we do have the stinging jellyfish that are on the surface, etc., we can go ahead and do an entry with no air in the BCD and just go right down. In this case here, the depth is only about maybe 8 or 9 feet
Right.
off the end of the dock here, maybe 10 at the most. But normally you take your console, hold it up against your chest. This is the way we do it anyway. But our low pressure inflator hose is also underneath our forearm, so that doesn't end up coming up and hitting somebody in a mask. Over the 40 years I've been diving, I've seen it twice where the low pressure inflator hoses come up and hit the person in the glass lenses, and the glass is shattered
Right.
on it.
Mask is
So
done.
yeah, the mask shattered. So we always hold that low pressure inflator. We hold the console up high just below our neck, and then the low pressure inflator system is underneath our forearm.
Right.
And then I put my fingertips, so the first knuckle is up over the top of my mask, and then my palm or upper part of the wrist is holding on to my regulator. And you'll see a lot of people do it different. They might use one hand on the face mask, another hand on the back of the head, holding the mask strap in place, or someone holding onto the weight belt, etc. Not saying anything is right or wrong. This is just the way that we do it.
Right. And you'll see that his heels are just slightly off the pier.
That way I can kind of rock a little bit and use the bottom of my foot to make sure that I'm stepping off and my foot doesn't slip out,
Right.
to where I can end up hitting the edge of the dock and getting hurt. So I'm just going to kind of rock my foot a little bit and then use the bottom, step right back straight. And naturally, with the weight of your tank, you're going to go ahead and just start to go back a little bit.
Now,
All right, got my knees bent a little bit. Again, that's because my bad knees.
right. And just like Rich was saying before, if you're on a platform, notice how the heel is just driving back. And if this pier was level with the water, or just say this was the platform, and the water is coming over the top of the platform, his heel would be driving right through that water. If he was turned around, that fin could catch that wave, and like we said before, you end up doing a face plant. But
Yeah, notice my fin tip is still pointing straight out.
yep,
So, you don't flip it down behind you, et cetera. You just drive that heel right through the incoming water.
right,
Right. So keep it nice and straight. You can see that front leg,
yep,
using
nice
it as a
stride
pivot.
right here. Yep,
Yep. Using it as a pivot, creating distance from the dock itself or the platform from the boat
yep.
to ensure that you're not gonna hit it.
And
And
here,
then you'll notice that I will start to go back a little bit from the weight of the tank and also just kind of a little bit of a lean.
right, but here's something that we often don't see: people continuing to hold on. Notice how Rich is still holding on to everything right here, as he's getting ready, as he's leaving the platform, still holding on to everything. Notice his arms aren't out to the side or anything like that. He's still holding on to everything.
Yeah, we see that a lot. We see the arms go off to the side. Everybody lets go of everything. Hold on to everything until you're
Right.
underwater, and you come back up to the surface, still hold on to everything if you have air in the BCD, and then check. You can see I go back just a little bit now.
Yep.
So very, very little pressure on my knees, and that's my entry of choice. Now, in this case here, because we were talking about the jellyfish at that time, we were also showing some people from the dock, what to do when you hit the water. See the water move out, and it pushes the jellyfish away, and then you just go right underwater. You'll notice that I go under, I turn over. All right, I'm going to go ahead and achieve neutral buoyancy, and then I'm going to look, and I'm going to wait for my buddy to enter the water.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the backwards giant stride. See, all my gear is still intact. Nothing came out. Nothing's loose.
And right here, he's looking up, waiting for his buddy to enter the water. Notice he
Notice I
just,
cleared the area. I cleared
right,
the entry area as soon as I went under. I went to the right a little bit, cleared the area. Or if there's a little bit of a current, go against the current, and then wait and look up and make sure that your buddy is going to enter safely and they don't need any assistance. But be prepared to assist if they do.
right. And this is a good shot of of you waiting for your buddy to enter the water, and you're ready to respond if he does have a problem.
Yep.
And then
And the only thing making contact right now is just on my left leg. My fin tip upside down is making a little bit of contact right there.
yep,
Yep. But I'm not on any live coral or anything like that.
right,
My left knee is neutrally buoyant. My right heel may have just made contact right now, but I keep my fin tip up. Again, try to make as little contact as possible. Yep. And I don't think that right leg ever hit because you'll
now,
notice it's going off to the side now.
and then
But
you're ready to go off on your
yep.
dive.
All right. Show it one more time in its entirety
Yep.
and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
So this is called the backwards giant stride. I wish more instructors would teach it because it's a very safe dive to do for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
not just seniors with bad knees. What we didn't tell a lot of people too is I completed my 15,000th dive in Bonaire on this trip.
Really?
Yeah. And there's no other place I wanted to do it.
Yep.
This was also my 30th trip to Bonaire. Yep.
Yeah.
I hit dive number 15,000. Took me a
Gee.
little longer than I thought because the last, 7 or 8 years, I slowed way down
Right.
from what I was doing prior to semi-retirement.
Right.
Still doing a lot of diving, but not anywhere near as much. I mean, I was in the water almost every day, or
Right.
you know, doing 400 to 500 dives sometimes, but usually 350 to 400 plus dives a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Anyway,
I like that one. Uh, that's well, the two of them are really good. You know, as far as gives everybody an understanding as far as the jellyfish, and then this one with entering the water and going right to the bottom if there's jellyfish on the surface. So two
absolutely.
good shorts.
All right, buddy.
All right. Well,
I hope
thanks.
everybody enjoyed tips from the UWCSI pros,
Thanks
and
everybody
we'll
for watching.
see you next time.
You know it.